nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
What's up, DAFS punks? We are back. It's another Wednesday with the Drew and Fuse Show. I am Fusemania. This is
Drew Pierce, and apparently we're big influencers now, right?
Yeah, we're huge influencers. If you guys didn't know, we got done recording last week's episode. We picked up the phone. We called Serato. We said, "Hey, Serato, why don't you come out with this new 4.0 update?" We just put this whole episode out, and they were like, Drew and Fuse, we got you.
Got you, fam. Obviously, that's what happened, but the timing is impeccable regardless, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think about it? Are you impressed? Is this like enough to where, we had a lot of comments on this last episode about DJ?
Yes.
And do you think this is enough to just sway you to just that it's all there now?
Well, from a sense of ease of I use Serato already, and they finally releasing some features that people have been asking for a long time. So I'm going to say yes from that standpoint. I think there are a lot of cool features. They basically have announced, if you guys don't know, they've announced that they've redone the library is basically the major update with 4.0, as well as other bug updates and stuff like that. And we have a list of those updates that, we can talk about, but it's basically library focused, crate organization.
Yeah. Crate management. For me, a guy that is obsessed with tagging and, putting things in the right crate and all this stuff, it's a really big update. It's pretty impressive. I'm hyped because I'm still planning, even if I do use DJ, I'm still planning on organizing everything in Serato. I just find I'm faster tagging everything on it. I like this, the smart crates. I like all the stuff it could do. DJ just offers a lot more in terms of across platforms like iOS and, that kind of stuff. But I still do love me some Serato. Just, of course, like you said, because we've been using it for so long.
Right.
And it's a solid workhorse. Now I'm still not putting this beta on my working laptop.
Same.
but so that still doesn't even mean that it doesn't even mean that these features we're going to see these for another 3 or 4 months. But I felt like they had to say something just because we're such big influencers and we're kind of a big deal now. But I knew something was coming up because I also watched a video with 𝐃𝐨 showed this. It was the exact same title as ours. It said DJ versus Serato. And he was just showing like scratching and that kind of stuff that he does on it. And for that, he gave the win to DJ. Like he said, barely. He said it's almost the same, but he was like, he just thought it sounded a little bit better. DJ did. So I just think a lot of people, Serato was getting to a point where it's like so many people are like, okay, you guys are leaving us in the dust. You tried to sell the company. You're just kind of leaving us in the dust here. Are we looking for someone else? And then there's this other app over here that's doing all the things that is listening to the DJs. So, I did feel like they had to come out with something.
Right. And okay, so if you guys are listening and you haven't seen yet what those updates are, I'm going to rattle off a list. Drew and I both watched Mojax's video. Mojax always does a really good job of, I feel like, getting to the point without a lot of fluff. And so if you want to know more, Mojax did a great job already. Go listen to that video. But we're going to hit these real quick talking points. So one of the big things is a right click on the track. So you can now right click on the track and it provides quick access to tools like crates, analyzing files, changing BPM, locking beat grids, and a few more things.
That's big for me. Really big for me because like say I'm mid gig and I download a file and I put it in, it does analyze, but it doesn't actually grid anything or just anything on the fly. Like you have to do that outside of the fact. So that's a big deal. And also, the crate stuff. Whew,
yeah.
So good.
So one of the things it does is you can rescan, it can relocate the tracks, which it already does, but it has deleting and more. It'll actually, from your right click, you can show up where the file is in your Finder and completely remove it, which, man, I've been waiting for that one for a while.
I know the shortcut to that, so not as big of a deal, but yes, that is pretty cool. That you
I feel
can,
like sometimes the shortcut doesn't work correctly. That's what I've experienced, at least.
I don't know. I don't have that problem, but that it is nice that it's there in a right click now.
Yeah. So one of the other features is they have a rating system, and you can rate songs. But not only can you rate the songs, instead of it just being a star, you can change to an emoji. So you could have 5-star flames, you could have 5-star stars, you could have 5-star check marks, and you can sort by those different things within a crate.
Is that cool to you?
Yes, because let's say like I have a crate of like house stuff, and I want to like make my like the true bangers that I want to play throughout the night stick out more. I might highlight them that way, like put them all 5 stars or something. And then maybe
Are
if
you
I'm
getting?
but hear me out with this part. Let's say maybe I'm gonna go play a set somewhere and it's just an hour set and I need to switch over to record box. Well, now I can take the songs that I have 5-starred that I'm only gonna play for an hour, move them into record box real quick, and boom, I have them all on a thumb drive.
I like the idea. I guess I need to actually have it, right in front of me and try it. But do you stick with one emoji? Or you start doing the fried shrimp, or you getting aggressive with the different style of emojis?
I just like the options for tagging, and the more options to tag, the better. So with that being said, one of the next ones is favorited crates pin for easy access. So that's pretty awesome, I think.
That one to me is the best one that they did. As silly as that sounds, on Mojack's video, he shows how, like, if you have a specialty gig coming up, you want to put it at the top, you have to like put it in a folder and then slowly drag it up. And if you have a lot of crates, then it's a pain in the ass to do. I do this all the time for weddings. That's so big for me. It's just so big to be able to just do that real quick. And now I can leave stuff at the bottom that's I'm going to delete right away, because I could just favorite it for the gig and then get rid of it, like bride's requests and all this stuff. I favorite it. It's right there at the top. Get rid of it afterwards. I don't need to like drag it all up to the top and do all the 100%, things. So.
Yeah. I think that's a really cool feature to be able to keep right at the top. The other thing, like I mentioned, the color-coded crates, I think that'll be very helpful. Detailed stats, track count, duration, size, all that stuff still. You can batch analyze and auto analyze on import now, that's like a no-brainer, right?
No, it's big.
I don't know how many times I've dragged songs into files, into crates, and then like I go and analyze them, or I analyze something later and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to analyze the last 30 songs I've put in here,
I guess I still do it manually because I use mixed and key. So I do it mix and key first, and then I'll put it in Serato to analyze, because I like the keying. I find that the keys and that it auto does for Serato on their analyze is just not as good. I feel like they're always off. So it's cool, but I guess you just have to make sure you do it through mix and key first, then put it in and have it auto update.
The one change that I'm not much of a fan of is the prepare folder is going to change.
Well, yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about this. It's the same prepare window that they have for DJ. So I guess if I'm going to be jumping back and forth, I like that now it's somewhat unified. I don't like it, right? That makes sense. My problem with it is, and the Mojack's video as well, he shows once you have them all up to the sides, you can't really see, unless you put your BPMs all the way to the left, you can't really see the BPMs or the keys.
Right.
Because that's like, I have that on the 3rd or 4th column. So now I won't be able to see that at all.
Right. I liked that you could make the prepare folder, this big if you want, or this big, you know? And now you're going to be dragging it from the corner and it's taking up, this much of your screen.
Now this is a beta, so I wonder if it'll change, because are enough people going to get pissed off about it?
It's possible. You know what? We should we'll just call them up. We'll call them up again.
Since we're influencers now, we'll just call them up.
Yeah, we'll call them up.
Another reason that I kind of like it is that it is I can kind of play out of that. Now I can load my prepare. I guess workflow wise, you have to wrap your brain around it as you're DJing, but you know how you could definitely pull it down. Now you
Right.
could have it the other crate with the all, and then you could have like what you're already playing. You could kind of build it live and be able
That's
to
true.
rattle off stuff a little bit faster.
That's
So
true. You know, so there,
as long as I can coordinate my emojis, I got to be able to like stack my emojis and like
right. I'm telling you, the emojis, man. Searchable crate. That's the other thing. Searchable
huge.
crates.
My favorite thing they came up with. My second favorite thing to starring it, but the searchable crates was so big, so freaking big.
And then the other thing is you can, on the right click button, again, you can highlight like a song and it'll show you what crates it's all in as well. So if you have a song in
Yes.
multiple crates.
Yes, very big, very, very big. Now, random question here for you: does this make you want to redo your library? I know you're not as hardcore of a tagger as I am, and is this like something that is going to make you delete all old folders and then like just rebuild because now you kind of have these tools?
It makes me want to, for sure, because the system that I use is a system that I've used basically. So I started DJing back in my day, and 2008-ish, 2009, and then I got a new computer in like 2010. Maybe it was just the end of 2010. And at that point, I had started DJing and everybody was saying, get off of iTunes. So I did at that point. Early on, I moved everything from iTunes. And I've been using the same organizational system since. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's what's worked for me. And then, so to kind of give you guys an idea, my main thing is I have a main club folder. And then that's organized by genre: hip hop, pop, rock, house, like dubstep, trappy stuff. And then like I still have like it labeled twerk. It's that like mid tempo, like EDM stuff. So that's just how I have my stuff labeled. And then everything goes into that I think I'll play. And then if I don't think I'll play it, every couple months I go through those folders and then I move it to a club MEH folder. So I still keep the files. They're still organized by genre. And those are that's like my main. I also have a folder that I call the Eclectic Collection. And what that is the same thing. It's broken down into like indie, house, rock, and that's all stuff that I might play at an event, maybe like an in-store gig where it's like, let's be a little more cool with the music today. So I have like 3 main folders. The meh I never really play out of. I'm mostly out of the club and out of the Eclectic Collection. So from that sense, yeah, because I would love to like go organize, like make a smart crate and like have 80s, like my eclectic 80s, or you know, stuff like that, you know, and just have more genre, subgenre detailed stuff. It's hard though, because as you know, you kind of get used to the way you organize things, and it's hard to adapt a new system. But with all these new tagging things, I feel like it really might be easier to come up with a newer, better system.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to spend more time on it and dive deep. I'm pretty good with my tags. I do a genre like you do. I have a crate that's my top crate right now is a smart crate. It has 4 different things. So as I was retagging all of my stuff, I got into this part where I tag the genre, but then I also have like tags that I use that are party explicit, you know?
Right.
It's like the style of club that I would play. I could just type that word in and it's almost like a curated, already done for me.
You know, one of the things I just started doing, and I don't know why I didn't think to do this like way sooner in my DJ career, because I wish I would have, is anytime I play a set, I open the history and, you know, it tells you the history by date, but you can also edit it and put in either the event, the name, and that way you can search for a specific event that you did, or maybe a gig, or like, you know, let's say you play your bungalow spot and you want to go, oh man, I really need to like refresh what I'm doing. Let me go back to 3 years ago and see if there's anything that could still work now that I'm not playing, or like whatever, just to keep things fresh. And, you know, I don't know why I didn't start doing that sooner, because it's just
because you couldn't search it is the problem, because I do that. And Now it's the problem is I have 8 billion crates, and then I have, one master crate that I just kept dropping stuff in. So I still have a lot of these crates. They evolve over time because we were always, I don't know about you, I'm always switching out files, So if I get a better version of that exact file, I might take that out. And so then it would show orange. I don't always save it. It would show orange in my thing. But the fact that you can search parties, it will make me go, better wedding. It was a good wedding. Save that wedding crate. Tag it epic wedding and date epic wedding and put it in a crate, and I could bury it, and now I could just type in wedding set or whatever, with a crab emoji.
But it's just one of those things, and DJs are crabby. We've learned this week. A lot of people have commented on our stuff. A lot of people, they're just stuck in their ways. But any excuse to help yourself, like help me help you kind of thing, like this is a great, when this drops out of beta and it's an official release, it will be time for me to look into setting things up a different way. It might still keep somewhat of a similar structure, but I want to go and clean up stuff for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I will be using this a lot. And we both were saying one thing I wanted to remind or go back to is you said you got off iTunes. I got off iTunes about the same time. And Serato has been my go-to like tagging system. It was starting to feel like iTunes in that it was just dated and it was just a pain in the butt. I had found a side tagger that I was using. It's just a tag editor that I found off of Apple because you could add artwork and it was just so much easier, so much better. Right. So now I might not need that. And I could just tag everything properly and organize inside of Serato because we all got off iTunes because you're having to use multiple programs to do one thing, and it was just in the way. But iTunes was really great for a long time. It just kind of got a little
one system talking to another system too.
Yeah,
that's what people don't understand.
Yeah, so you had to get rid of that. So now it's that. But a lot of good things. I'm making fun of the emojis, and watch that be my favorite thing as we go down the list. I guess I gotta make sure that I stick with only one emoji and don't get too crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could have multiple, like, stuff that maybe, you're looking for your yacht rock files, but they're in one crate and you're like, oh, where am I? So you have little boats, emojis there, or something like that,
Actually, as we're talking about this, how I said I tag things in the genre, I tag it like 70s rock, and then I'll put yacht next to it. Okay?
Right.
So then I could type in yacht and it comes up. Where I could see this emoji thing coming in handy or coming in play is tagging them like 5 boats or like a 3 boat or whatever. Right. But the second it's not a 5 boat anymore, it's way easier to turn it to a 2 boat than it is to have as the retagging the tag as a yacht or not being a yacht. This could actually solve that solution for that.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying with like playing the house music, and like if I was going to play a record box set, because then the stuff that's like hits anymore, I'm gonna drop it down a couple stars and then only select for my hour set, or whatever. Even if I'm playing an hour set on Serato, I'll have the top 5-star tracks of house or whatever. I also like that I still am a hard sell on the streaming files, but I like that the streaming files can now mix with the other crates as well. That's big too.
Right.
I think as somebody who's not really using streaming right now, that makes me be like, okay, maybe I'll fire up an account to just have certain songs as like a last resort kind of thing, for me personally.
What would be the first one that you would check
for streaming?
Yeah,
that's tough because I haven't looked into the beat source, how much it's changed since when they first rolled it out. And I haven't looked really into the Apple Music since they've released it either. Apple, from at the ballpark, when we buy player music and everything gets bought through iTunes from an iTunes account. And sometimes it's hard to find non-explicit versions on there as well. And chances are if I'm using that, I'm at an event where I need the clean version anyway,
Right. That was my number one problem with Beat Source, and it was never tagged correctly. and I would just say radio version or extended track. It wouldn't be tagged clean or dirty. So we need to revisit that. You know, playing at the clubs, I get a lot of younger DJs that come up to me and ask, you know, might say that they really like my set. Like, where do I get this, or where do I get that, or what do I recommend to get to another level? And more often than not, they tell me SoundCloud. And so I'm asking you because you're a big SoundCloud guy, and we have a subscription. I wonder, like, you could probably use that, right?
Well, that's a good question, and we might have to look into it in the next week or two and come back here. I do like SoundCloud. I've mentioned several times on here that SoundCloud is back in terms of like finding good remixers or people that are making good edits or bootlegs that are just trying to grow still as DJs. And there are a lot of good edits out there on SoundCloud. And it's hard, you know, you got to really dig. Not everything's good either. And so I don't know how the integration would work with SoundCloud in terms of like how that streaming process would work, because a lot of the edits that I do download from SoundCloud, you have to go back and either re-edit, or they don't have an intro. You got to put an intro on it or make it, you know. So I'm always finding that I'm doing something to the music anyway. So I don't know, for me personally, if the streaming is where it's at with that.
Yeah, I'd probably jump on Apple Music if I'm being honest. I'm not going to use Tidal. Nothing, no beef against it. I just, you know, works on my phone. Right, I could yell at that person. I don't want to trigger anyone's phones right now, but you could yell at the AI for your phone and tell it to play something, and it'd be a lot faster than if you have to jump and yell at Tidal. So I've been wanting to do that, but I think I would probably try SoundCloud first, even though I know quality wise it's probably crap. I'm just so fascinated of how many DJs tell me they use SoundCloud, like a lot. A lot.
How many of
the
those
younger
DJs though are asking to go B2B with you in the club at that moment? They bring their drive and they're like, "Bro, you want to go B2B?" And then they look down and you're on 1200s.
All of them want a B2B, but you know, they're using SoundCloud, so I know that's not a thing. I'm just speaking out between me and you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we see younger DJs, right? And then you're still like, okay, I wasn't going to do that, but now I'm impressed. It's at least intriguing to me.
Yeah,
if
for
that
sure.
many people are doing it, why they wouldn't go to a Beat Source or a Tidal or a Apple Music. I'm with you on streaming. I have zero interest in it at the moment. It just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah. Before we change topics here, I just want to take a chance to say, if you haven't signed up with Direct Music Service yet, use promo code 𝐷rewandFuseShow. It'll save you 30% off your first month of activation. We have exclusive edits on there. There's tons of exclusive editors: Dig, Simo, Scooter, 𝐬𝐿, Zillionaire, Tiger Toast. The list goes on and on. If you're not on DMS yet, we do episodes from time to time where we highlight songs that we like that are, you know, on DMS currently. So you can go back and listen to some of those episodes as well. Also, if you have not signed up for the Drew and Fuse Show Patreon, you can do that. It costs you $9.99 a month. Or if you pay for a year in full, you save 10%. So there's that option. Last week, Drew dropped some video knowledge on how to save your library to Dropbox, because people, you know, really don't want to pay extra money, but it's just funny, the comments we've gotten. It's like, the comments are hilarious to me. Somebody was like, "Nobody asked for this." And I was like, I believe I did just ask for this. But Drew posted a video on how to back up your library, which comes in handy. What was the second video you posted?
Serato settings, which are all going to change after this beta. So
right,
it's still enough of a basic to understand little things if you want.
Right. And we dropped edits. Drew dropped another big edit pack. We're dropping, you know, exclusives on there. There's always some kind of weekly update. So if you guys haven't joined the Drew and Fuse Patreon, join. It helps support the show. You know, like we mentioned the last episode, we're now using a newer software. A couple weeks, we're going to be filming another live podcast. So we have to pay to have somebody do it so it doesn't look like poo. So that you know, you're helping support that as well. So
that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and we appreciate everybody that's subscribed so far and reached out to us and all that. So thank you guys. It's cool.
So before we jump, final takeaways: emojis actually could end up being super cool.
Yes.
Favorite crates, really dope.
Color coordinated crates. I mean, just that
color
alone.
coordinator, big.
Yeah.
And searching crates, big.
Yeah.
And apparently me and Fuse are going to have to go retag our entire files.
That's gonna make
Our
me
entire
want
way.
to. I don't know if, it's a task. God, there's so much stuff that, I have a hard time getting rid of it completely because it's like, you just never know when you're gonna want something, like either to make, there's stuff that I'm like, oh man, I really wish I just had that edit I used to have just for that little breakdown right here, and I want to refresh it with this. So I have a hard time deleting stuff, but
This is how I do it. And I'll probably end up doing something at some point, or we'll talk about it later, but a quick little analysis of what I do. I try and organize it in like 3 to 4 different types of parties, like something that I would play for, a private event, something that I would play for a nightclub, something I play for a day party, maybe, just different types of parties. I have these 4 or 5 different styles of events that I do. If it fits in that, I keep it. Then I tag it accordingly to however I see that, has 4 or 5 different genre tags. And that way I can search a lot faster. If I want to get rid of something like you're saying, I end up taking it out of Serato and putting it on a folder that I have like back to an external. So then I have just this external drive that lives with all of the stuff that either I edited and then I need to re-edit again because I messed up the edit, or it's just, and I need it at some point, like it's popular again. And I like that edit for whatever reason. TikTok made it popular again. So that's how I do it. I just want it out of Serato because it's in my way.
Yeah.
But I can always find it.
Totally. So with that being said, multiple events. So who would have thought when we started this podcast that you and I have kind of flip-flop positions in a little bit? Drew is, you're still doing the weddings and you're still, but right now you've got more stock in your bar nightclub space than you do wedding space. And I'm still doing a lot of bars, clubs, but I've been shifting to doing a lot more weddings too. With that being said, I bought a van this week. Who would have thought?
Look at you.
I know.
Yeah, it's a must-have when you're doing private events. I think so. I mean, I know you can get everything in your car, but you don't want to be banging up your car,
dude.
And I'm sure you're starting to already screw it up just for the couple events that you did.
Yeah, it's just more of I'm somebody who has to try to make things as easy on myself as possible when I get there, and I like to be prepared. So having the space to have everything I need kind of in one space now, and knowing that I'll have like backup cables and like, all, not that I wouldn't at prior events, but that I can have all of my backups in there. And it's like, oh man, I have a cable for everything, or like just having that extra space. And then honestly, having a car that's like, this is just the work car, man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to look shiny. It doesn't,
My favorite part about having a van is being able to have it loaded after the event and just pull it into the garage and be like, okay, I'll get to that tomorrow when my back isn't killing me. Or having back-to-back weddings and just leaving it loaded and be able to pull that out and handle it. Yeah.
Right. Mine's been upfitted. So it's got some shelves. It has the cage behind the seats already too. And then the locks. So if you break into the front, the locks don't work with the back part. So even if you broke into the front, you can't get into the back, which is nice. Not that I'm going to like go park it anywhere and like still trust that it's like,
you
always
never
good.
know, bro.
Right.
You never know.
But it's just a peace of mind that's like, if I have to run into the convenience store real quick to get some batteries, that, I'm probably good, because they're going to need to work a lot harder to get into the back.
You need to get some fake magnets that you could throw on the side of the wall, the side of the van that say like, floaties. You just do pool floaties.
What it says mutt cuts on the side, like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, so that no one thinks to go in it.
Right. I know so many people, like I it's not like I've advertised other than on here that I got one, but the people that I have told, they're like, oh man, are you going to put your logo on it? And I'm like, no. Like, why would I want to advertise that it's like full of crap that's valuable?
I had a van for 10 years, and yeah, that's the last thing I would ever do is any of that. But no, that's great. That's great. Congrats.
Thanks.
Moving on up to the big leagues.
Moving on up, making things easier is the way I like to see it. And you had a little bit of fun this week yourself.
I've been having too much fun. Went to a Deltron 3030 show with a bunch of friends. Steve Dubb was there, and just a bunch of other friends, 𝐃𝐨𝐽. And it was fun. It was a Kid Koala performed, and just Dan the Automator. For you guys don't really know, the crossover song that they had was a year later, and it was the Gorillaz, Clint Eastwood. And so Dan the Automator and Del the Funky Homo Sapien were on this, but this was their album before. It's a 25-year anniversary, and it was such a good show. Like hip hop live with cuts and samples, and he's on turntables with the original vinyl synced. Oh, it's just so impressive. Just really took me back. It was awesome. Fantastic show. And yeah, otherwise it was US Open at Bungalow. Always, all the surfers come through, big party. So it was a good weekend.
It make you
and
realize why you like DJing still? Was it one of those moments?
The Deltron 3030?
Yeah.
I will say that made me realize why I got into DJing. Whereas I actually got into DJing to make beats. I didn't get into DJing to be a DJ. I just got a turntable to sample records and then put them in and cut them up. That's exactly why I got into it. And then a lot of my favorite people would do cuts. So I want to be a scratch DJ because that's what they were doing. But I had zero intention of like playing commercial music until I saw that you started making money. But that part of it was just impressive. I know people are innovating and doing the things these days, and they're using the tools that are available for them. And that's what it was available for us at the time. But it was just a concept album that was out of the box. That was just really made me, I don't know. It was dope. Great show.
I think it's cool. You and I have talked about this since we've started doing the show, which it's going to be 4 years here in like a couple weeks, which is crazy. But, Daft Punk put out the Random Access Memories album, and their whole thing is that you got to go back to move forward was the whole point of the album. And it's almost like that album was so ahead of its time, but you're starting to see even more now people going back to like real vinyl, real instrumentation, real like just, everything, all the electronic stuff and like the AI. It's like, yes, let's use this as a tool and still play real instruments, or, like I feel like it's kind of getting back to that in a way.
There's so many creative people out there. I don't want to discount anybody that's actually doing good stuff. I'm just not searching it out. But, even like with the pop punk bands are coming back and playing live instruments again, and it's having a giant resurgence with, good bands. So
yeah, what we were just talking about, what was one of the bands that you said you really like right now?
Oh,
Travis
man.
Barker just played drums.
Yeah. Paradox. And Travis Barker came out and played with them, and man, that song's so freaking catchy. And they're just, the last 2 years blew up over social media, and yeah, it comes up on my TikTok a lot, and it's so freaking catchy. I had that song in my head right now as I was getting on to do this podcast.
And didn't you tell me that they kind of caught a big break from the Green Day?
Well, they did, yeah. But really, TikTok is what blew them up, and they actually have good songs on top of that. And then I think there was an interview he was saying how he messaged Billy Joe about like just getting tickets or something because they were broke, and he saw who he was, and he got him to open up the show for him.
That's pretty cool.
So it's cool that they're giving back, and there are young people that are really breaking boundaries and stuff. So yeah.
And then I wanted to mention that last week, to kick off the weekend of gigs, I did an all 45 set for a cocktail hour at a networking event. So I don't miss carrying turntables and a mixer and all the individual pieces that it takes to do that.
Right. But was it fun?
I had a great time doing it. It was
a lot of people compliment you on that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And it was one of those things that reminded me kind of like, man, you still enjoy doing this, and like, playing also like the freedom that you kind of feel of playing 45s, because you're like, I don't have a computer, I only have what's with me, so this is what I'm playing, so it was cool to get to do that, and in a space where I felt like people appreciated it too. And I know some of your friends out there are doing a lot more vinyl sets and stuff too, so that's really cool.
Yeah, Steve Dubb just started a new Monday with all vinyl 45, so, or not just 45s, but yeah, all vinyl. And they have a W Hotel that has one, an all vinyl
and
thing.
He does that, one of those. I've seen that. Velvet Haas has been out there.
Velvet Haas comes down and does that. Yeah, very cool. It's and 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭 does an all vinyl thing. There's a pretty good resurgence going on out here. So yeah,
it's
a
cool.
lot of cool shit going on.
And other than that, how was your weekend? Anything off the?
No, I made a little trip to see some friends in Scottsdale, bounced around there. It wasn't really anything going on. It was a Sunday, so it was mellow. Saw fashion, do a cool brunch spot. That was fun. But otherwise, no, it was, like I said, US Open, bunch of surfers in town, but you know, it's been a fun week. I definitely need a day off.
I understand.
But I've been going a little too in the paint. So yeah.
Yeah. My weekend was pretty standard. Did Fishbowl Friday, did Killer Queen Saturday, so I was on the banks all weekend. Both were good though. Had both pretty good nights for the most part, which was nice. And then then I'll be out to California in about a week and a half. We're gonna be out there. So
Scam Summit. We're gonna be bouncing around and seeing everybody out here. I know there's a ton of people coming in town. So if you're coming in town, hit us up in the comments or message us. Can't wait to see everybody. Yeah.
I was just gonna say we appreciate everybody that has commented on the last video, and any comments that you like about Serato 4.0, any comments, something that you don't like, anything that you still wish they would do, hit us in the comments. We'd love to read them all. We read them all.
Because this is 4.0, massive update. Still, I think they're a little behind. I still think the innovation's going over to DJ, and I'm still going to keep pushing forward on that. But it's for a tagging guy like myself, it's a huge update. So
I agree.
Here you go. How about this? I'll leave you with this little question, and maybe we could pin this. But how long does it take before DJ comes out with 5.5 that has a lot of the same features already done?
I mean, I don't think it'll take too long. I feel like Serato's been very slow on releasing anything, and I feel like as much as I'm not going to switch right away, they're still playing catch up to some of the stuff the other companies have released, for sure. It's just
that's
all my music's organized in Serato is the reason that I'm still using it.
They're like Apple at this point, right? They kind of, they're behind the times. When they add that feature, it's going to be the best version of that feature, but they're going to be way behind the times, but people still stick with it, right? Just like, how many people say, well, Pixel had that. And I'm just like, I'm still not going to go over to Pixel, but it's tight. That's, high five to you.
Right.
I might have switched over to Pixel if I didn't have iMessage. And I know, as silly as that sounds, that's the only reason that keeps me in there. But just because I'm a guy that likes tech, but I'm so in the Apple ecosystem that alone would ruin the experience.
My brain just doesn't work the same way that like the Google stuff works. Like the Apple stuff is very like visual, and I appreciate that, and it just works with my brain so much better. So, but it'll be interesting to see in the next month to even 6 months what else drops from competitors and what Serato changes from even the beta to the actual release, and honestly how long that will take, because I feel like they need to like push that shit out sooner than later, and it needs to be ready to go.
It's DJX next week, and that's probably why this is coming out, this news. They needed something,
right?
And so I'm sure somebody last year on that Monday is when they dropped the DJ R5 Rev 5, so Pioneer might come out with something. I don't know.
This is one last thing. If anybody's going to DJX, you guys know that we aren't going to be there. If you want to buy a drink from the bar in spirit with 𝐶𝐭 coins and video it and tag us, we'll appreciate it.
All right. My food's here. It's time to go. That's all she wrote.
All right. That's it. Until next time, guys, sign up for the Patreon, go to DMS, download all the fun stuff, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.